It took me a few days to piece myself back together. Well, understandable, girl. I was anxiously scrubbing a stain upon a small rectangular table when Sen and Kimigiku came to visit.
Forgive me again for rudely barging in unannounced. Please feel free to tell me if we are disturbing you.
No, it's quite alright. You aren't disturbing me at all.
It warms my heart to hear you say that. I've never had a girlfriend around my age, you know.
Poor Kimigiku.
So, has Kazuma attempted to come by since...
No. I haven't seen him since.
Oh. Well, good news then, I suppose.
It's true. Do you think he was just like... The timing of it all, she saw him kill her father and was just like, I have no chance with her now. But he wouldn't give up, though. He still wants, like, a pure demon girl. I don't know. It's interesting.
I imagine he might feel a little guilty for having taken such drastic vigilante actions.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
Hey, Chizuru. Have you been making sure to eat regularly? You look a little thin.
Yes, don't worry. I haven't been feeling unwell or anything.
Is that so? Happy to hear it. So, have you put any more thought into considering where to go from here? If you are feeling lonely, you are always welcome to live in our village.
Well, it wasn't that I was unappreciative of Sen's show of concern, but... I'm sorry. I haven't paid the thought any mind.
I see.
A pensive look covered Sen's face as her eyes scanned me, and she eventually glanced at Kimigiku. Wind rustled the branches of a tree beside my window. Come to think of it, Chizuru, has one of the Shinsengumi men reached you at all here in this house? Kimigiku's question triggered my grief, and suddenly depression caused my knees to ache and tremble. In fact, it has. I've learned of both Kondo and Okita's passing. Ah, so it has. And what of the news of Hijikata fighting in Utsunomiya with his remaining troops? What? Indeed. As we speak, they are marching onto an open field, brandishing the Makoto flag. Even now, their chase for glory lives on legend. Kimigiku's revelation caught me somewhat off guard. To the Shinsengumi, Kondo had served as an irreplaceable icon, a symbol of its greatest values and its unrelenting moral fiber. For Hijikata, I was sure that his devastating absence produced a hole too great to fill. Losing someone great was a grueling rite of passage. I couldn't begin to imagine how Hijikata could muster the will to fight, let alone lead a battalion of men against seemingly impossible odds. As his closest comrades died, one by one, beside him, what had he been fighting for? A sudden compulsion took a hold of me. I had decided to search after the Shinsengumi. Wow.
Is traveling to Aizu what you desire?
Huh? Sen, ever the wise, had caught on to my expression.
You could escort her safely, couldn't you, Kimigiku?
Sneaking into Aizu is child's play. Consider it done. But are you sure? Would you really do that for me?
Oh, come now. No need to be so modest. We are friends, are we not? Besides, it is the least I can do for you as the head of the Yase clan for having neglected my duties to prevent either Kodo or Kazuma from acting out.
Sen, I cannot begin to thank you enough. Alright, we're chasing our boys down again. One more time. To travel to Heartbreak City. Because they're all dying. Except for a couple. And so, we began the arduous journey from Edo to Aizu. With Kimigiku's assistance, we had relative ease sneaking out of Edo, avoiding detection under the scrutiny of the Imperial Army's patrol units. Although entering Aizu was another story entirely, considering that cannon fire and decomposing bodies were reducing the once lush domain to ruin. By the time we reached the castle town surrounding Aizu, it was October of 1868, in full autumnal swing.
Kiku does not normally take a long time to return. I worry that she's in danger.
Much to our dismay, the Aizu, like those before them, had offered their terms of surrender to the Imperial Army once their battered forces began to wane. After years of supporting the Shinsengumi, the mighty Aizu domain had fallen, just in time for our arrival. It was another demoralizing blow, and my heart yearned to comfort the Shinsengumi men whose hopes were becoming dashed in a matter of months. Rubble and bullet shells cracked underneath my feet.
Oh, Kiku!
Princess Chizuru, apologies for keeping you two waiting.
I am elated for your return. So, tell us everything. How are the Shinsengumi men?
I have news of the warrior's whereabouts. I gulped, waiting intently for her status report. Firstly, Sayato, captain of the 3rd Division, has been missing in action since the end of the Battle of Bonari Pass that took place a few days ago. His status is not totally confirmed, but judging from his division, we may have to assume the worst. Sayato, one of the Shinsengumi's most gifted and courageous swordsmen, lost his life in battle? The news hit me like a bolt of lightning, giving me no reprieve as I felt the urge to faint from shock. Oh, Sen caught us. Thank you, Sen.
Are you alright, Chizuru?
Yeah, it's okay. Please, pay no attention to me. And what of the others, Kimigiku? Word is, the remnants of the Shogunate army are currently marching over to Sendai. If I were to hazard a guess, I assume they are planning to board a ship and depart for Ezo. Ezo?
It is a harsh, snowy place located on the tip of the country. Traveling there is a stroke of desperation.
Which could only mean the war of attrition was reaching its threshold, and in Ezo, all could potentially come crashing down.
The look on your face tells me that you intend on traveling to Ezo, don't you, Chizuru?
Yes. I was entwined in the Shinsengumi's myth, having been a part of their ranks for nearly 4 years. I wanted to witness for myself how that myth would end, and how the lives of those who were there to shape it would eventually do so. Missing it would have been a disservice to myself, so I nodded curtly towards Sen.
What to do? Of course, I have my connections to the Imperial Court, but they are rather tenuous at the moment. Traveling to Ezo would require us to, somehow, procure control of a foreign vessel, for which ideas escape me at this moment in time.
If it's too much to ask for, Sen, then perhaps I can try negotiating a way to travel for myself.
Nonsense. No issue is too complex for me to find a solution. Mind you, it just may take some time.
Until then, we should likely acquire details for accommodations in Sendai as soon as possible.
Excellent idea. Mind taking care of that for us?
This is kind of a repeat of Chikage's route, except we're with the girls, but it's nice being with the girls. Kimigiku arranged for us to stay in a modest homestead situated discreetly within a nearby hamlet in Sendai. Locating a suitable vessel had been, just as Sen had forewarned, a far more challenging task. Our search turned from days into weeks, and soon the tall, thick trees were emptied of their leaves as the autumn quickly morphed into a harsh winter. We were left with no choice but to sit idly, waiting for next year's spring to emerge before traveling north. Yeah, too dangerous to sail in the winter. Oh, I thought we were going to have a chapter break. Maybe there's no actual chapter breaks for Chizuru, because we're pretty far along in the story already. It's just, chapter 1, to distinguish it from the prologue. Summer 1869.
Chizuru, are you here?
Sen, what's the matter? You sound panicked.
At last! After months of painful waiting, we have finally found a vessel willing to give us passage.
What? Really?
Really. Though I wanted nothing less than to rely on that bastard, so now I am in his debt.
Who do you mean? Two figures towered behind Sen, cloaked in shadows until their malicious grins took shape in the light of my lantern. It's the boys. Oh yeah. We needed their help anyway. I'm so happy.
The Princess of Yase requested an audience with us in order to solicit our aid.
Kazuma! Amagiri!
Seeing as how even our last resorts were falling through, I decided to summon our connections in the Satsuma domain to assist us in traveling to Ezo.
No need to spare her the good news. How generous of you to pardon our sins for participating in this war by allowing us to grant you this one favor.
Dang, that's no small thing. Also, can I just say I low-key love that Chikage didn't bother getting a new outfit this time around. He's just like, I've lost my chances. There's no point looking good for her anymore. I'm just gonna wear what I usually wear.
Ah, I see.
Never in 1,000 years had I ever imagined Kazuma or Amagiri to come in our time of need. Aww. He's still trying. He is still trying even if he didn't put on his new clothes.
Radiant as ever, Yukimura.
Oh, brother. I like to think Amagiri gave him some tips on the way here. Oh, no.
During our first acquaintance, I expected you to share in Koto's fragile temperament, but perhaps I underestimated that will of yours.
You know, if you're so concerned for her well-being, then you could just tell her so. Ugh, just how demented are you?
He needs a lot of help. He needs a lot of help. He doesn't quite know how to express himself properly.
What is this well-being you speak of?
I couldn't shake the image of Cosmo sneering over my father's lifeless body, which was a source of huge conflict as I stared at him angrily. But I had to take what I could get. Oof. Thank you. With your help, Cosma, I stand a chance of being reunited with the rest of the Shinsengumi.
Oh.
Sen gulped awkwardly, perhaps taken aback by my meager efforts of saving face in front of Cosma. Is something wrong, Sen? She seemed hesitant to answer, and her eyes darted around the room sheepishly. Cosma, however, spared no additional moments, wallowing in the room's thick tension.
The reunion you so desire will likely never occur.
What? For some reason, I couldn't hear a thing. My heart's incessant pounding saw to that. What do you mean? We were able to acquire a ship, right? I panicked, and my hands felt clammy as I spoke. Cosma averted his gaze initially, which was a more appropriate answer than he could ever offer.
On June 27th, the government of Hakodate, stronghold of the Republic of Ezo, had offered final terms of surrender.
My vision went blurry as I let his words sink in. The Shinsengumi was defeated? After enduring wave after wave of terrible losses and being uprooted from their homes, the Shinsengumi fought on. But in the end, it was all for naught.
Does this affect your decision at all? Even if you travel to Ezo, there is no guarantee that any of the Shinsengumi are still alive. The choice is yours. If you desire to travel to Ezo, then we most certainly can. Just let us know.
Sen gazed at me with gentle, sympathetic eyes. I'm going. I must witness for myself what remains of them, if anything.
Understood. As you wish.
which means I love you. Sen, such a good friend. Even pardoned those two, their war crimes, to get her friend to Ezo. Man. What a gal. I can't believe Chikage still tried to make a move. That was so funny. The vessel took 2 brutal months to reach Ezo, during which my mind conjured no shortage of gruesome thoughts concerning the fate of my friends. Kazuma, in a stunning act of kindness, had a Western uniform specially designed for me. This boy. I appreciated his generosity, though it was about 4 years too late, and I stared into the sparkly horizon. Dang, girl is hard to please. Boy putting in that effort, though. He trying. At the time of our arrival upon Ezo's shores, we were in the middle of a sweltering summer. This place looks pretty good. I had to take some comfort, however, in the lack of humidity in contrast to an Edo or Kyoto summer. From what I had been told, war had ravaged the town of Goryokaku, located in Hakodate. The land was scorched entirely, standing as little more than cinders piled atop rusted artifacts of war. So, this is where all of it came to an end. Aye, many lives were lost in these fields. Towards the end of last year, when their last line of troops arrived, they were 3,000 strong. However, the Imperial Army reduced it by 1/3 within days of the initial battle here. The Imperial Army spared no expense and marched nearly 5,000 troops here to lay siege in Ezo. The shogunate's fate had been cast before the first bullet was ever fired. Thanks to Kimigiku's tireless investigating, I became privy of the timeline of events as they occurred in Ezo. May 20th, 1869. Imperial forces reached the coast of Ezo. June 20th, 1869. War between the Imperials and the government of Hakodate began. June 23rd, 1869. The resistance fighters surrendered at Benten Fortress. A total of 92 men surrendered at Benten. Among them were 13 Shinsengumi warriors. June 27th, 1869. Goryokaku, the last remaining stronghold, offered their terms of surrender to the Imperial Army. Such a short period of time. Do you have any idea what became of Hijikata? I held my breath as I awaited her answer, knowing full well that the answer could knock the wind out of me. Kimigiku gazed blankly at my shyly posed question, biting her lip in hesitation before answering. I am terribly sad to tell you, but he passed away on June 20th when Imperial forces stormed Ezo. From what I could gather, he suffered numerous gunshot wounds in saving his men at Benten Fortress. Hijikata died? I bit my tongue, keeping myself from sobbing madly. The demon commander, the Shinsengumi's seemingly invincible paragon, had lost his life. I never thought the day would ever come. Just then... Ah! A warm gust of wind tickled my cheeks, carrying with it a familiar totem that crossed my line of sight. As I realized what it was, I gasped. It landed upon the floor, covered in soot, and my hand shook as I held it in the center of my palm. What is it? Ah. Oh, this picture. Yeah, the Makoto flag. It was a tattered Makoto flag. It was the dying ember of an age gone by, proof of the Shinsengumi's heroism on these sacred lands. I had shed few tears for anyone other than my father in the last year, but this time was unavoidable. The Shinsengumi had eluded me for too long. I had never managed to catch them, and it felt as every opportunity was merely the ghost of thought. Now they were elsewhere, far beyond where I could ever reach them. I flicked tears from my cheek with my right thumb.
Chizuru, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I couldn't say any more. Sen tilted her head upward, staring longingly at the open sky as she muttered to me softly.
It beckons disbelief to think that the Shinsengumi were able to fight for as long as they had. The Takagawa affiliate daimyo, as well as the Hideyoshi daimyo, and even the shogun, relinquish any semblance of hope at some point or another.
I was only in their care for a short amount of time. I found it difficult to speak in their stead, and in this moment I reflected upon the sounds of their voices. There was one thing, however, that I knew for sure. At the very least, none of them chased any hollow pursuits like nobility, public renown, or recognition amongst their peers.
Right. That sentiment I could agree with.
I turned to face the sky, watching the clouds bunch in formations overhead. Oh, oh no. This is gonna make me sad, oh no. One thing I cherished was how, in gazing towards the sky, it reminded me of their light blue kimonos. I was reminded of their struggles, their laughter. Regardless of how the world around them changed, they remained steadfast in their convictions. Upholding values upon penalty of death was no mean feat. Even so, they defied all the odds, rising above the restrictions of class and material to forge something greater as an honest indication of their best selves. Kondo epitomized this more than anyone, transcending the limitations he had been born with in the pursuit of a dream, becoming a true samurai. Hijikata, the Shinsengumi's rugged, curt disciplinarian, was another example of what set them apart from factions of other power-hungry mercenaries. Oh no, it's growing. Oh no, it's growing. I saw Soji and I started the tears. Oh no, we can do this. Okita, who possessed an unparalleled talent for swordsmanship, had been aptly given the title of the Sword of the Shinsengumi. Saito, a shy gentleman of few words, let his sword do the talking, and had always been a man of his word. Oh boy. Heisuke was a bubbly soul, whose wit and candor far exceeded his youthful appearance. Harada, the group's frank, charismatic ladies' man, had charm and leadership down in spades. Oh, Keisuke. Nagakura, full of energy and sake, symbolized the brotherly love that the Shinsengumi valued most. Sanan sacrificed his humanity to fight alongside the Shinsengumi as one of the leaders of its Fury Corps. Yamazaki, a thoughtful, timid ninja who served as the Shinsengumi's shadow, had assisted me on numerous occasions to broaden my medical expertise. In a way, was one of the first Shinsengumi men that I had met, and the memory of his jovial smile still gives me comfort in moments of weakness. Shimada, a hulking warrior with a heart of gold, had a sweet tooth like no other and a gentle bellow. Soma, the group's proud, diligent page, shed his Ronin persona to follow in Kondo's footsteps. Nomura never failed to bring levity to a situation, and helped to maintain the dignity of the Shinsengumi. This truly was farewell. My cheeks felt rosy, and not just from the bite of wind. If I were to close my eyes, I swore that I could still hear the busy chatter of their voices. So once more, I shut my eyes in silence. Achievement unlocked. I promised I wouldn't cry. Thanks for that. I think that got me. Oh boy, wow. I'm really tearing up there. I think I managed to get through reading that over the tears. Oh. Oh, that was beautiful. Just listing all of them off there at the end. I do love all our boys. Oh. Oh, the tears. Ugh. I wonder if there's an epilogue for this. I'm curious. Huh. Wow. I wasn't expecting there to be quite so much with just the solo route. But well done. Well done for making it feel like its own full fleshed out story. And we even still got like some resolution-ish about Dad. Like that was taken care of, which was the major thing for Chizuru. Never heard from Sister Brother again, but I mean, we can assume that Chikage dealt with that as well. Oh, and Chikage's still around. Trying to get himself a wife. Trying to make it up to Yukimura. She's not having any of it. Oh. Well, let's see. Let's see if that was... I mean, that's a good ending. It doesn't need an epilogue. I'm just curious. Fiend. Yeah. I mean, it would have been kind of nice to see what she did after this, but I guess you can come up with that story yourself. Whether she went to live with Sen, whether she went back to her dad's home and started taking care of medicine there. All by myself, achievement unlocked. All by myself, I don't wanna be. Well, I'm curious. Hey! Completed CG has been unlocked. Nice. Husbando's unlock and chizzy bang bang. Chizzy bang bang. Let's see what this is. Okay, so there's all that. That one. Where's the other one? Here we go! How do I... There we go. There's all our boys. Look at them all. Hey! Oh, wow. That's incredible. I didn't forget anything, right? I don't think so. Alright. Got it all. We collected them all. Whew. Alright. I think the tears have stopped for now. Thank you guys very much for joining me for that. That was a good ending to this game. This delightful game. I definitely have final thoughts. Got final thoughts. We got final route list. Did I finally decide on a number one? Who knows? You'll find out tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to doing my final thoughts on this, because I have a lot to say about this delightful game. Oh, sorry, I'm just like so caught up in the feels about that last scene. Oh, that was so good. But anyway, thank you guys once again for joining me, and not only for this video, but for the entire series. It was great. Wonderful to share it with all of you, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you over on my final thoughts video, because I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Until next time, guys, I will see you later.